Everybody, welcome back to Filmmakers Unleashed. I'm your host Finn, and once again, I am joined by Jackson Wells. How you doing, dude? It's been a while.
It has. How you doing? I'm good.
Pretty
A
good
lot's happened.
actually. Yeah, it has. Honestly, it's great to have you back, honestly, because you are like
It's great to be here.
you're literally like my main Star Wars guy that I always bring on. So I knew that when Ahsoka came out, because we literally had this conversation before. I was like, listen, okay, when Ahsoka comes out, I've got to get you on. And here you are.
Yeah.
I had to. Because I tell you what, you are the reason why I got into Star Wars Rebels, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I remember all the time I'd hop on Instagram and you'd be like sharing all these different screenshots of arcs and all these great cinematography of Rebels. I think, you know what, I've got to go watch Rebels. And now Rebels is one of my favorite Star Wars shows. So thank
Well,
you.
awesome.
So
That's a great show.
it is a brilliant show. And so, Ahsoka. Now, my expectations with this show were kind of all over the place. It was kind of a mixed bag because one, Star Wars shows were ranging from Andor level of greatness to the lows of Book of Boba Fett, and now Ahsoka, it was kind of uh, I can't really describe it because I didn't really know what to expect because of the previous shows beforehand. So obviously I was excited about seeing where Ahsoka's story led off and obviously seeing live action interpretations of Rebels characters, which is still insane to me that even happened because to me that is the equivalent of seeing all three Spider-Men hanging out together in No Way Home. Do you know what I mean? It's like I never ever thought that I'd
Yeah.
even be able to see that. And then of course you've got, well, the other reasons why I was a bit, scared to hop into the show is because, again, what the shows that I've seen before, especially Mando Season 3, elements of Kenobi, obviously Book of Boba Fett, but we won't go into that. And so, hopping into Ahsoka, I was so pleasantly surprised by how much they got right and how good this show is so far. And I really want to hear your take on it because I know that, Rebels is basically a massive part sorry, a massive part of why you love Star Wars animation. So could you just give us an insight on why, on your thoughts on Ahsoka so far?
Yeah. So, kind of like you, I was going in with a very, I don't know, my mindset going into this was really weird because if I'm being completely honest, I was kind of indifferent until about I don't know, again, I don't know what happened, but um, like a week before Ahsoka started, I got like really excited out of nowhere, and I don't know why. It wasn't anything specific that sparked this, but uh, I don't know what it was. I got like because when it was announced, I was jazzed. I was so excited. And then we kind of learned more about it. We kind of learned that okay, this is like this is a Rebels sequel. It's gonna be live action, and then Kenobi, Bob, Book of Boba Fett, and Mando Season 3 all happened, which that on top of this being like a live action sequel to Rebels all kind of just, I don't know, it didn't put the best taste in my mouth, but I was like there were still things I was very excited to see. And there were things I was really excited for, like they announced the Kiners were doing the music. I was so excited for that. And yeah, I am honestly though. I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm enjoying this more than I thought I would.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the exact same. Honestly, it was when the episode 1 and 2 aired at the same time. I'm thinking, okay, I'm in for a really great experience. And then they go and announce that, oh, it's 9 episodes long, and I'm thinking, holy shit, it's gonna feel like an actual TV
I think
show.
it's 8.
Oh, is it 8? Is it?
Yeah, it's 8.
Oh, my bad. Well,
Yeah,
still,
right now that's the halfway point. But yeah, it's longer than Kenobi was, which is nice.
yeah. Because honestly, when the thing is with these shows, we talked about this before, but it always feels like, the plot only really starts kicking off around, the fifth episode, and by the time that episode's
Yeah,
on, it's like, oh, the finale's after this, and it's like, do you know what I mean? It's got all this build-up event,
yeah,
it's just like, oh, quick, we've got to rush to finish the show as soon as possible. But this show feels like it's actually taking its time. And I think that goes because we got the extra 2 episodes, and it feels weird that I'm even having to ask for, you know, more than 6 episodes on a Disney Plus project, but the fact that we have it, I'm just so happy about it. But like you said, with yeah, a week before, I was actually super excited about Ahsoka because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go rewatch some of the trailers, and it just looked gorgeous. Like,
Yeah, no, the trailers, they've had really good marketing.
yeah, and especially the music as well, and just I think the way those trailers were edited together just built up my hype even more, especially just seeing not just live action interpretation of the Rebels characters, but just like a Lothal in live action. Like,
Yep.
I can't even comprehend it. I mean, obviously we've seen the ghost slightly in that one snippet of Rogue One, but
Yeah, but this is the first time we really got to see, and this is what made me really happy. Is like this is the first time we really got to see the ghosts. Like it was the first time it was the focus in live action, right? Like you can see it many times in the background of Rogue One, and a couple times in Rise of Skywalker as well. But this is
yeah.
a whole different thing,
And
you know?
especially with Chopper as well, because obviously, again, we see a little snippet of Chopper in Rogue One, but it's like he's
Yep.
front there and center. He's, he's a part of the scene, especially with, we got a live action Hera and Sabine, and obviously,
Yep.
yeah, we've got a little snippet of Ezra there when he's on the hologram, which I guarantee, obviously, we're going to see Ezra later on in the episodes, but
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
I can't believe what I'm seeing sometimes. It's just seeing, obviously I've gotten to the point where it's like, okay, I can, my hype has died down. I've experienced Ahsoka in live action before. It's still really cool, but it's
Yeah,
like,
no,
yeah,
exactly. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's exactly like I remember a specific moment in the first episode where Hera's like Thrawn disappeared during the Battle of Lothal, and I was so taken aback by that, and it was so strange to me hearing those words come out of like a live action Hera's mouth. And but the weird thing to me, and the thing that really started tripping me up, was after that it just like I would hear a direct reference to Rebels, and I'd just like not think twice about it, you know?
oh yeah, me
It's like
too.
it's to the point where it's happening so frequently where it just kind of ceases to become anything noteworthy, I guess would be the word. Because like, like in Mando season 1 and even 2 to an extent, when they would like reference events from the animated shows, every time it felt like a really big deal. But like it's just happening so much now that it's like, oh my God, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It would be the case of, obviously Dave Filoni writes and produces and directs all these episodes, but he doesn't, how do I put this? He doesn't try to make the audience feel dumb, as in like he doesn't try and work around events and just slightly reference things. That he references like so much of his shows. Like he doesn't care if the main audience hasn't watched all of Rebels or all of Clone
Yeah.
Wars. He'll just reference everything. It's like say if I guarantee you in Daredevil Born Again, they're not going to reference anything of the previous
Oh no,
seasons. Yeah.
I would be. I still don't know what the fuck they're doing with that show. I'm not gonna lie. It's very.
Yeah, if it ever
It's
actually
very
comes
just-
out.
Well, yeah, there's that too. But that whole thing is just so confusing to me because. Well, we're not talking. I won't go on a Daredevil tangent, but yeah, no, with Ahsoka so far, I have been pleasantly surprised, and I am so excited for next week. This week. We're recording this on. I don't know when this is coming out, but right now this is the Sunday before Episode 5 airs. So I am so excited right now. I am just absolutely over the moon about next episode. I need it right now. Yeah,
especially after that ending, it's like,
Yep. Yeah, with seeing Hayden in his Revenge of the Sith outfit, I'm gonna need them to hurry up with that next episode. I'm so excited.
I honestly, I don't even know what to expect with next episode, because I watched a couple of the trailers before coming on here, and I've noticed that every single scene in pretty much all the trailers, besides like snippets of Thrawn, we've all seen that footage so far.
There is 9 seconds between every TV spot and trailer. There is 9 seconds we haven't seen yet.
Really?
9 seconds. We have half the show, and there are only 9 seconds of this thing we have not seen yet, which is awesome. I love that. I love because with Mando season 2, we saw nothing after the first half. They only showed the first half. So the fact that we're kind of doing that again is really awesome to me. I mean, it's just like we don't know what to expect. I mean, I have a wish list for next episode, and I'm sure. What do you know when this is going to be coming out?
Well, this podcast, I'll probably load it for Monday or the next 2 days before episode 5 comes out.
Okay, so we're good. Okay, so if you'll be dropping it tomorrow, then most likely.
Most likely, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of things I would love to see next episode, but I assume we'll talk about that later after we kind of go over the first 3 a little bit more, or first 4. Sorry, jeez. First things, the score. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so good.
It's. I honestly, I don't even have words for it. It's like kind of. It gives like a Game of Thrones feel to it because they always play like this incredible score after the credits roll with all this like artwork of all the gold wrapping around it. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I love the end credits. Very beautiful looking. It's like I really do wish it was like that. Feels like it should have been an opening credit sequence, but
yeah,
the score just all around. I really, okay, so Star Wars, I could ramble about Star Wars TV music for hours on end, but I'll keep this brief. Obviously, like, the Kiners have been scoring Ahsoka since day one, since the movie in, what was it, 2008? I don't remember when the movie was. It was around then, 2008-ish. So they've been, point being, they've been scoring Ahsoka for well over a decade. And, obviously, then they built upon their musical legacy in Rebels and then Bad Batch and Tales of the Jedi. To see them be able to do it in live action is really cool because they get so much more money to make music here. Like, they have a live... my buddy, Plo Kool, he did an interview with Sean and Dina Kiner. It's a great interview. Go check it out if you're interested in, like, film score and specifically, like, the score for Rebels, Ahsoka, and Clone Wars. And they mentioned that they had like a live orchestra for every single cue in Ahsoka, which isn't something that they would have been able to do with Rebels or Clone Wars,
That's incredible.
So getting to hear them with a much larger budget has been really exciting. And on top of that, getting to hear them bring back all the themes that I know and love from those shows is just something that really personally, like, just makes me giddy. Like, Sabine's theme is one of my favorite Star Wars themes, and hearing that again just... Oh my god, I freaked out. Like, I remember, like, I even though I knew it was going to be in the show, when I heard those first 3 notes of her theme during that opening speeder bike chase, I lost it. I lost my mind. And Hera's theme, Ezra's theme, Thrawn's theme, they're all back. It's awesome. Oh my god, it makes me so happy.
It feels like we never left the Rebels era. I honestly, I love it when they bring back pre-existing scores. Like, I remember, just jumping to Mando Season 2 for a second, there's a bit where Din is talking with Ahsoka and she references, I've only known one other of Grogu's kind, a wise Master Jedi Yoda, and they play a little snippet of his score, and I was like, yes!
Yep.
I love it.
No, Mando is a really good example of how to use legacy themes because it only uses them like when they're thematically appropriate. Like, you're right. You hear Yoda's theme when she mentions Yoda. You hear the March of the Resistance when some of the X-Wing pilots are on screen. You hear Ahsoka's theme when Ahsoka's on screen in season 2 a couple times, and obviously the Force theme. So I really liked how Mando has handled using score from past like projects. And I think something that's really important about Mando is that it kind of does it without bias. I think a lot of times when it comes to legacy music in modern film, like, because we're in this era of, bringing back old stuff from the 80s and such, like reviving old franchises. And I feel like a lot of times the music is a little bit biased, if that makes sense. Like, it only brings back themes that have like a certain level of, I don't know, like popularity, I guess.
Know what you mean. I do know what you mean, yeah.
Like, like actually, The Flash is a really good example because you hear the Michael Keaton. Like if Michael Keaton says one word in that movie, you hear his theme. But there's not a single piece of Man of Steel score in that entire movie, not one. And I think I really like that so far. The Mando era shows haven't been doing that because obviously, like if you go up to on the like if you were to just go on the streets and pick out random people and play Yoda's theme and then play Ahsoka's theme, I guarantee you will get like way more people that are able to play, the Force theme and Yoda's theme than you would Ahsoka's theme. And yeah, especially, and obviously it makes sense. Like, I forget, I think it might have been my buddy Star Wars dude who pointed this out. He said that when there's a bit with Morgan and where she's opening up the map. I think it was episode 2. When that happens, you can actually hear a bit of Night Sister score from the Clone Wars, which is
sick.
just so cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's a little like I didn't even notice that, and I'm like the score guy, right? Like I did not even notice that. Which is just, I don't know, man. That stuff makes me so happy. Sorry, there's a train right here.
No, it's so good.
I don't know how well you can hear that, but yeah, it brings me so much joy, man. That's enough of me rambling about the music, though.
Oh, no. Honestly, I love when you talk about Star Wars music because I am such a massive fan of Star Wars themes, but I'm not like 100% on every little score. Like I wouldn't even notice the Night Sisters theme or
I didn't even catch that one. I haven't seen those arcs in a while. Oh, and another thing, it's like a lot of these Star Wars shows have had a lot more contemporary scores. Like they don't really sound like classic Star Wars music, which is fine. I think especially like in the case of Mando and Andor, they're so disconnected from what George Lucas and John Williams did with the original trilogy that it makes sense for the show to have a bit more of a unique identity. But Ahsoka is not very disconnected at all. It is very much in that world that Lucas directly created. He helped create Ahsoka. You got the obviously Anakin's back, right? So it was great to hear another like Williams-esque score in Star Wars. I really missed that sound. And it's something that I think Kenobi should have had too, but I won't. If I get started on Kenobi's score, I'm not going to stop.
Oh yeah, that still depressed me to this day. Poor Sandra Holt. She did not get time to cook. She really didn't get. She didn't get given
Natalie
anything,
Holt,
is what it
she
sounded
messed up.
like. I read something the other day. I don't know if this is true. Didn't they say that she wasn't sure if she was allowed to use pre-existing scores? How would you not?
Yeah,
know?
From what I understand, the producers asked them to score the show as if they wouldn't have access to the Williams themes, which I think is ridiculous. But
that is, yeah. Well, we won't go down that rabbit hole because I'll end up throwing something because it makes me angry. I really wish that she could, make something as good as she did in Loki, but the scores are incredible in this show. But there's something that I do really want to talk about with you is how great the casting is for all these, from the transition from animation to live action. All the casting is, I think it's perfect, especially with Sabine. I think she's so good in this show.
Yeah.
In terms of I look at her and I see Sabine, but the way that she acts, because she's got kind of like a playful kind of don't really care energy, that she pulls it off so well in live action that it's almost like a seamless transition almost. And also Hera, what's the actress's name? She's Ramona Flowers in Scott Pilgrim. What's the actress?
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Yeah, she is also really good as Hera as well. Like she's just. Again, two excellent casting right there, and from what I've seen of Ezra on that hologram, that is also, he pulls off Ezra really well. But I think more Sabine, more than anything, I'm just really impressed with how that actress has actually taken that character and sort of made it her own. But just pulled it off in live action. I think it's absolutely incredible, and especially I think that her relationship with Ahsoka in the show is. It was kind of weird at first because I don't think I've ever really seen Ahsoka and Sabine talk much in the show. in terms of Rebels, and seeing their relationship in Ahsoka be kind of like a 180s if they've had all this conflict behind the scenes. I was kind of adjusting a bit to it because I was like, they haven't really had much of a relationship, but I'm really starting to dig the whole conflict between them actually behind the scenes. I do think it is really good. I do. Because again, I was nervous going into it because how are they going to tackle that because there's not really much there, but
Yeah.
I think they've done a really great job actually. Honestly, the whole conflict
I
with sorry, you go on, mate.
no, you continue. You're good.
I was just going to say that her whole conflict with, her really missing Ezra and how that's kind of putting off her training and that's all it was going to go about. But I think it's done really really well.
Yeah, I have weird feelings on the Ahsoka Sabine thing. I see what they're trying to do. Well, for starters, I was kind of against her learning how to use the Force, like off the bat. But the way that they've been going about it, I actually think is really cool. I think that the idea, and it goes way back to like George Lucas's original philosophy on the Force, like all the way back to A New Hope, where it's like, everybody can use the Force, everyone can tap into it, you just have to be open to it. And I think, this is really the first time on screen we're seeing someone try and really fail at opening up to the Force. Because, like, you look at all the movies, Anakin was naturally gifted in the Force. Luke was naturally gifted in the Force. Rey was naturally gifted in the Force. This is the first time we're really seeing someone
struggle
being trained to be a Jedi and having a lot of trouble doing so. Like, Sabine is having a lot of trouble tapping into it, and I think that's really interesting. I think the way that they've tackled that is really cool.
Yeah.
And it even it ties back a lot to Trials of the Darksaber.
It does,
and even a couple lines that Kanan had in that episode. And my biggest thing so far, though, is that I need more context. I know they're not giving us it on purpose, but and I'm hoping this comes next episode with the World Between Worlds. I imagine there will be flashbacks. I would like to see some flashbacks of Sabine and Ahsoka training for the first time.
Yeah, I think that would be like very needed for this show. And again, like you said, Anakin and Rey were very, they had the Force just like that pretty much. But I love to see Sabine fail, not because I'm being a dick, but just because like I think it's necessary to see our hero fail. Yeah, because I think one of my favorite scenes out this entire, the 4 episodes so far, it's not any of the massive fight scenes or any of the big world building scenes, but the scene where Sabine's trying to move that little thing using the Force.
I love that.
Yeah, and the shot is just focused on it.
That scene was really jarring to me because there's a line that she says at the end. She's like, "You win this round." I think it's exactly what she says in the show.
Yeah.
That was the most, I think out of every single line, I don't know what it was, but every single line delivery of the show, that was like the one where I was like, holy shit, that is exactly how she would have said that in Rebels. Like, I don't know what it was, just about the way her vocal inflections in that line delivery, but that one like took me so off guard. And maybe it's because I was just coming off a Rebels rewatch, but that one was like, wow, that is like exactly how she would have said that.
I was thinking the exact same thing as well. Again, she's so good in this show.
She is fantastic, yeah.
You know what I actually did really, really enjoy was I did get goosebumps when Ahsoka and Sabine were just running through the woods together, and the camera just
the music, yeah. Oh God, I need to talk about this because this last episode 4, the direction and the editing were so tight. Like, it is rare for a TV show to have, and a lot of it was the music, too. The music, the editing, and the direction were so in sync. It was crazy to watch. Because that's not something you usually see on a TV show. Even in, like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but, like, I think that might have been the best scored episode of any live-action Star Wars TV series, Andor included.
Wow.
Which... I love the score for Andor, and I don't know, because there were a lot of really great musical. Okay, maybe not the best, but it's up there.
Yeah, it was ridiculously good, like to the point where even say me, well, any old Star Wars fan will just get really excited over all the fight scenes. But me personally, it's just the little moments where as the camera glides up to like you see the rest of the forest of the school building up. That's what gives me goosebumps. That's what honestly, I looked over at my dad and we sat there just going, oh, like it's just the direction of the show. That's the one thing that keeping me going. Obviously, the story, I really engaged in the story at the minute, but the direction, that is what is bringing me back. It's just so good.
Yeah, and I think the fight choreography, too, is really, really strong.
Yeah, especially...
Which hasn't been something that I have felt in a lot of the other seasons of, like, Mando and Bob. Like, I feel like a lot of the fights were just... I'm not an expert on fight choreography, but I feel like the lightsaber battles in this one they've been good, really good. I really enjoyed them. Because I'm not like the biggest... I'm not like the biggest prequel fight fan. I feel like some of them lack weight, I guess would be the way I would put it. But in here, it's like it's a bit higher energy. But it's also very samurai inspired, and I love that. I love like the moments of pause where they're trying to like evaluate each other's stances. It's really cool.
Yeah, and you know what I can appreciate? There's no shaky cam in these fight scenes that there was in Kenobi.
Yeah, no, they're really smoothly shot. I can't really complain about the way the show has been shot. I mean, there have been some wonky color grading choices. I don't really like how Corellia looks. I wish... It's like it's weird because like I see what they were trying to go for with Corellia, but I think that they should have pulled a little bit more from how Solo did it, because in Solo it's cloudy, it's rainy, it just looks miserable. It doesn't look like anywhere I'd want to go. It's very like sunny in Ahsoka, which is like I think they either should have set it at night or they should have just made it completely overcast again.
Yeah, I finished.
Yeah, that's really I really like the way. Oh God, what's the planet that they were on for most of last episode? I don't remember the name, but the place where Ahsoka fought Balin, and the redwoods I think is a really cool aesthetic. I think that looks nice.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Honestly, they could have just put it in just some normal forest like Endor or something. But the thing is, because Star Wars planets, they've basically covered everything in terms of design, right? So it's kind of
real life.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of like real world places, there's very little you could do. There's only so many places in the world, and there have been a lot of Star Wars planets that have filmed in practical locations.
Yeah, but I think this location, I think this location specifically, it was just like such a cool, place to actually do it, because it kind of reminds me of like Dathomir, like the Night Sisters. Obviously, there's a Night Sister on the planet as well.
Yeah. Because Dathomir also had like red trees, stuff like that. It had a very red aesthetic to it, which I thought was a nice little visual connection between the two. I'm sure that was on purpose. The villains in this show also have been really awesome. I think the best we've had in these Mando shows. I think Balin is so... Rest in peace, Ray Stevenson. Balin is just such a good character.
He is. I think that his relationship with... Well, it's not even that. I think it's the way that he views the Force and, the whole... The Jedi. The whole Force to Jedi, because it even says that it would be a shame to kill Ahsoka, and it doesn't seem like he's inherently, like such a bad guy, like any other dark side using.
He's not mustache twirling.
Yeah, he's not mustache twirling. Yeah, it feels like obviously when Sabine gave him the map, which we'll talk about at some point, any other dark side villain would have just straight up just killed Sabine just like that. But like he feels like.
Well, I really like it's like. Shin starts to force choke her, and Balin's just like, knock it off. I told her I was not going to hurt her. I love that. It's like he has it's integrity. He has integrity, which is not something you see with a lot of Star Wars. He reminds me actually a little bit of Count Dooku in that way, like Count Dooku in like a lot of the shows and extended lore, where I don't think he's inherently like an awful... Well, he's a bad dude, but he's not like, he doesn't want to conquer the galaxy, I still need to, I want to know more about him. I really want to know more about him. And I think, getting into this, he mentioned that he knew Anakin. And I feel like that's something that's going to come back next episode. Depending on, well, I don't know, because that opens up a whole other thing. It's like, what is Anakin here? Like, what's his deal? Like, is he real? Is he a Force ghost? Is he a vision? Like, there's so many opportunities. Like, I've seen a lot of people suggest that he could be like the Son, which I don't fully buy into, but because that's a lot. I mean, introducing the world between worlds and all the Mortis gods to like the general audience in one episode, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot, and I just kind of just came out of the blue. Like, I was like, oh, what happened to Ahsoka? And all of a sudden, just the world between worlds just pops in, which, Grant, looks incredible in live action. It looks so good, but the ending of just Anakin just getting hello Snips, which, Grant, him even saying that to
that so weird.
Yeah, it just feels like, it feels incredible, but I've got to get my head around it because it's like something that I never thought I'd ever see, just seeing Anakin and Ahsoka in live action. Him even saying hello Snips whilst in the classic Clone Wars costume, pretty much. It just felt weird, but in a good way. Do you know what I mean? And granted, it makes me so excited for the next episode because, like you said, we haven't really seen any other footage, so it just makes me feel like there's so many surprises, that are going to come in episode 5. I bet I really think that one of these episodes, maybe next one, we're going to see like a whole live action Clone Wars battle. That's what I actually think we're going to go see at some point.
I feel like it would have to be next episode.
Yeah.
I don't see, because I think next episode, I agree, you kind of have to have a flashback. That's going to be really interesting to see how they do that. I'm just fascinated to see how visually they pull that off, because they're going to have to, if they're going to be clones, you got to have, how they do it also depends on when in the Clone Wars it is, because they have practical Phase 2 armor. They built it for that. I don't know if it was the same, I'm going to be honest, I don't know if it was the same armor in Mando Season 3 that it was in Kenobi. But I know in Kenobi and Andor it was the same.
Yeah.
I think they may have just repainted it for Kenobi because it looked, or for Mando Season 3, because the clone armor there looked way better than it did in Kenobi, I thought. The 501st Blue was just a lot darker. I'm rambling, but my point being is I don't think they built any Phase 1 armor. So if there are like flashbacks to like the earlier sides of the Clone Wars, which based on that dialogue we heard from Anakin in the trailer, it sounds like it would be earlier on.
Yeah.
Then they have to build Phase 1 armor, and I'd be very curious to see how they do that, just to see how that looks practically, because we've never seen that armor real before. We've never seen that like actually be real before, which is kind of bizarre.
Yeah, it's still bizarre that we're even getting excited talking about an actual human being on a film set wearing clone armor without it.
Clone armor, yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine if we see Rex? Live action Rex?
I've thought a lot about that, and I will lose my mind. I've become pretty jaded towards like fan service. It doesn't really like. When I saw Zeb, this is weird, but I saw Zeb like when he popped up in Season 3. I did not really feel much.
That was a
but
weird
you
cameo.
showed me Rex. It really was, especially considering he wasn't with Carson in this episode. Like, if he was with Carson, I would have understood, like, what they were going for a little bit more, but he's not, and that really confuses me.
Yeah, it's like, why... Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, yeah, why did you set that up? It was very strange.
Yeah, Mando Season 3 was just... that was a weird season of television, that was, especially with just... those types of cameos. Like, granted, it makes sense for him to be in Ahsoka, so I can kind of see him popping up at some point. Maybe if that's some sort of, like, final battle, I can see him popping up at some point. And, same with Rex, because Rex is still alive, but he's, like, he's quite an old man. But...
I think if we see Rex, it'll only be in flashbacks. I actually am not sure we're going to see him in, like the present day, quote unquote, like the actual web. I think if we see him, it'll only be flashbacks for now.
Yeah.
I think that could change in the future, but like for now, I think we'll only see Rex in flashbacks.
Yeah.
Just to, I think, introduce general audiences to the idea that he's a dude that exists.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah.
And then so then if he does pop up somewhere in the future, they're kind of able to pinpoint him. Because I think it would be a little confusing if for general audiences if they saw, you know, old man Tamira Morrison just playing a clone. Like that might be a little weird for people, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at, though.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that I hope that there's a reason for all these flashbacks. They don't just want to have, hey, look, it's live-action Clone Wars, all these battles, and oh, look, these Jedi, and oh, my God, these big cameos.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that if they are going to do it, it'll be for the purposes of showing general audiences what their master-apprentice relationship was actually like.
Yeah.
Because that's not something that they have any context for, you know? They don't know anything about that. I mean, most people watching the show have probably not seen Clone Wars, so they're going to need to understand what their relationship was actually like.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Honestly, I don't just want just things on the screen just for the sake of having them in live action.
So
yeah.
I feel like the flashback in Kenobi, it didn't really add anything new to their relationship or it did not enhance how I felt about their relationship at all. It's like to me at the end of the day kind of felt throwaway.
Yeah, and it didn't even de-age Hayden.
Yeah. It was kind of funny. It was kind of funny seeing
season of television. Also, you know what we haven't actually spoke about? The title character,
what?
Ahsoka. How good Rosario Dawson is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I am so used to Ashley Eckstein as Ahsoka. So no matter who they cast, it would take some getting used to.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because like I've grown up for pretty much as long as I can remember. I've watched Clone Wars. You know, so Ahsoka is just as much a part of Star Wars to me as Luke or Leia or Han or Obi-Wan or anyone else, right? So, I'm still getting used to Rosario, I'm not going to lie. I think she's been, like a lot of people said she's flat, and I kind of agree, but I also think it's on purpose. I think they could have executed it a bit better, but as like in episodes 3 and 4, she's starting to grow on me a little bit.
Yeah, I do think she's a very, very good Ahsoka. Like, I think... I think she just looks like an older Ahsoka, and the way that she's acting, I can understand how some people think she's flat, but I think, like you said, in the way that she's older now and she's kind of just this wise old mentor now. And another thing I can actually appreciate is, especially in direction-wise, she actually moves like animated Ahsoka. Like, she's jumping out of windows, she's kicking people, she's doing flips and such, so it's like, you know, I'm really happy to say that she's actually, you know, some of the main things I love from Ahsoka in the animation was the fact that she's just, the fluidity of her movements, they kept that with her, which I think was really, really great. And, and ever since her debut in Mando Season 2, again, I still think that is one of my favorite episodes of Star Wars television because the fact that...
That was a good episode.
Yeah, Ahsoka in live action and just the end duel felt very samurai, like you said earlier. But, yeah, I think she's just really, really good so far. And it's like, I have no idea where the rest of this show is actually going to take this character. I honestly have no clue. And the trailers haven't helped with that, but for a good reason, because I no idea what's going to happen, but I'm really excited to see that. I'm happy to see a Star Wars show where I don't know what the hell's going to happen. Or I'll tell you this, it's the first time in a while where I can sit and watch a Star Wars show after an episode and just be excited about what comes next. Normally I'm sitting there getting annoyed about where is the main character? Do you know what I mean? It's like with Mando and Boba.
Yeah.
I'm screaming at the TV thinking, where is the debut character? Where is the title character? But I can actually sit back and not be angry at a Star Wars show for once.
Yeah, no, and it's weird because it's like, I wouldn't say this is the most excited I've been for a Star Wars show for in a long time, because Andor was like still less than a year ago. But like my excitement week to week with Andor was very different than it was with Ahsoka.
Yeah.
It's like with Andor, it was just really gripping television. It was just period great television, and it was just something I looked forward to every week, seeing what would happen next, all that. But like, I don't know, it's very hard to describe. Like, I guess it's just being excited for a more traditional Star Wars project like this again is really fun.
Yeah, I have to
Because
agree
I
with
feel
you on
like I
that.
haven't really had that. I haven't really had that since Mando season 2. I don't think. So, yeah,
Yeah, I think everything past Mando season, yeah, everything past Mando season 2, granted Andor, you're good, you can sit this one out. I've just been so frustrated by character choices, direction choices, story choices, to the point where
yeah,
it just, even after like say episode 2, I realized that this plot's going nowhere, and I'm like, oh, we've only got about 6 episodes. Do you know what I mean? I just get so incredibly
yeah,
frustrated, but with especially Andor and especially Ahsoka so far, I've just been so pleased with not only the story but the direction, the score, the characters, just literally everything. It feels like true Star Wars to me because I'll be honest with you, after Boba Fett and elements of Kenobi and probably elements of season 3 of Mando, I've been so out of Star Wars, like I've just lost my love for it completely to the point where normally I play a lot of Star Wars Battlefront, or I go rewatch some shows, or I'll just go on YouTube and just rewatch some scenes from Rebels or Clone Wars. I've had none of that for the past year because I've just been so out of it. Like I've been so looking forward to Kenobi and Boba Fett, and they just took me out of it. Like I was just like,
yeah,
this isn't even just like, well, back to the prequel days of people would like, oh, it's really good, or maybe it's not that bad and stuff like that. No, for me, it was just straight up horrible pieces of television, and it made me annoyed,
yeah.
and I just lost my love for Star Wars. But Andor and Ahsoka have really brought me back into it, and that's why this morning, just before I got on, I rewatched the entire Siege of Mandalore. I spent last night watching Star Wars Battlefront, and that's what I want Star Wars to do. I want me to bring my love back to the franchise, and that's exactly what Ahsoka's done.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's just I'm happy. I'm really happy with the show, and I guess so. What a couple things we haven't really covered. We haven't talked about a lot of the New Republic stuff because we had in episode 2. They went to Corellia and all those Imperial loyalists, which I thought was a really interesting idea, and it's something showing kind of the corruption within the New Republic government is something Mando season 3 tried to do, but I didn't think it did a particularly good job at it. But in this, I thought like and maybe I think it just comes down to the dude they cast to play like the head of that Corellia yard, right?
Yeah.
I actually thought he was really convincing.
Yeah, and especially how we had that whole scene with Mon Mothma and Hera. I think that was a really excellent
that was a good scene.
I do really like how the New Republic isn't presenting to be this perfect New Republic. Like, as soon as the Empire ends, it's not like, yes, we're saved from the Empire, it's this perfect government. No, it's not perfect.
Yep.
And I really do enjoy the fact that obviously this New Republic isn't perfect. And again, I like how that one scene, it doesn't explore it. I'm just saying, like, it shows a bit more of where Mon Mothma is at this time, or just, it feels like we're with the New Republic like quite a bit now, especially in season 3 of Mando. We're spending quite a bit of time with the New Republic, and that's why I'm intrigued to see where that whole element of the New Republic goes in Dave Filoni's film. I like how they're building this up, which granted, I have no idea where the hell that film's going to go, by the way, and I'm also slightly terrified. I hope it's not just a cameo fest.
That one scares me a little bit, but I mean, it'll certainly be an experience seeing all those characters on the big screen. That'll be trippy.
Yeah, it was like seeing Matt Murdock on the big screen in No Way Home. That was to me.
Bizarre.
Yeah,
that was really bizarre.
But to top off, is there anything that we haven't covered just yet? I think we've gone over.
We have not really. Oh, we just kind of the back end of episode 4. With Sabine giving Balin the spear, the map, and then Ahsoka waking up in the world between worlds, obviously, and seeing Hayden.
What's your thoughts on what Sabine did at the end of that episode? What's your thoughts? I'm interested.
I did not like it when I first saw it. I thought, and I still have problems with it, but with her family being dead, I get it. It's just, I think for me personally, that choice would have felt a little bit more natural to me had they revealed earlier on that her parents were dead. Like if they had told us that in the first or second episode, I think that I would have understood where Sabine was coming from a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I rewatched that episode and it did work a bit better for me then.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because it's that classic Star Wars trope of like, take my hand, join me. And it's the first time I think in live action we've really seen someone actually accept that,
Yeah. Yeah. I think how I feel about the whole thing is I can see why she does it, but I'm conflicted because she gives Balin the map right after he supposedly kills Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So it's like Sabine kind of sees obviously like Ahsoka and Hera and all the Rebels crew as family, and as soon as this big Sith guy just straight up seemingly kills Ahsoka. Obviously we know that she's not dead, but Sabine thinks that Ahsoka's dead. She then hands over the map. That's where I think I kind of sit back and think, would she actually do that after seeing someone witness one of her family members?
That's a bit that kind of doesn't work out for me. And I know her and Ahsoka weren't actually on the best of terms, but yeah, that part's still a bit strange to me. Is that she did it like had she? I guess that's another thing. Is had she not thought Ahsoka was dead, then yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to see where it goes. Obviously, I'm intrigued to see. Intrigued to see where that leads in the coming episodes, but right now I'm kind of conflicted on it. But another thing that does interest me is how the hell does Ahsoka end up in the world between worlds? Because I have no idea.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions, and I think that's the point. It's like, is it real? Is this a vision? Is she actually there? I don't know, and I'm really just so fascinated to see how they explain this, because we still, like, for as much as people talk about the world between worlds, we know shockingly little about how it actually works.
Yeah, like, is it time travel? Is it, different, like, a multiverse, which I hope it isn't a multiverse.
I don't think it is. I've seen some people suggest that there will be multiverse stuff, and I just cannot see that happening.
No, Star Wars and multiverses, that doesn't mesh for me. That doesn't really work.
No, never. No, thank you. Yeah, I don't think we're ever gonna have to deal with that, to be honest with you. But
let's hope we don't eat our words in the next episode.
Yeah, right.
Oh God, could you imagine? At this point, I don't know how she got into the world between worlds, and I don't think it's a vision. I think she's actually there. I think in the opening scene of I think she's actually there. But I think in the opening of the next episode, it'll be revealed how she got there. But
okay, that's an interesting thought.
Yeah, because I only think that because the next few episodes we haven't really seen much footage, so I can imagine there's a lot to be shown.
I agree. Yeah, I think we'll spend. I genuinely think we'll probably spend most, if not all, of our time next episode in the world between worlds.
Yeah.
I don't really see us spending much time out of that place.
I'd say all of next episode will be in there. All of next episode.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine at the end of the episode she'll get out, but for the most part, I think we'll be spending our time in that realm. And I imagine, we'll get flashbacks, probably some good conversations between her and Hayden, I hope. I think I'm just really looking forward to see what they talk about. I'm just so curious.
Yeah, me too. When was the last time they had a full-on, a conversation, really? Because I think the last time they had
Siege of Mandalore, right? Like in terms of the timeline, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously before that she fought Vader, but that wasn't really... Do you know what I mean? It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where it goes, because we haven't seen Hayden as a Force ghost yet, other than the ending of Return of the freaking Jedi.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, that depends
it's fascinating.
It depends what cut you watch of the film. Depends what cut.
That is true. Yep.
That is good, but yeah, I am interested to see where this final scene leads into episode 5, which I reckon will be in the world between worlds for the entirety of the next episode. That's just my thoughts. That's just my thoughts.
I agree.
So, are you back ready to wrap up? Is there anything else you want to discuss about Ahsoka so far?
I think we covered everything.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just I'm so happy to do this podcast with you because I know how much you love the Ahsoka character and just Rebels in general.
Yeah, no, this is a blast.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, dude. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty,
Sorry,
so...
there's another train.
You and your trains, man. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening, and I hope to see you in the next time. See you later.